Okay, my outstanding friends, everybody knows Anton. This is Anton Petrov. He's got a 4-hour presentation on major physics discoveries of 2021, transformed our understanding. Yes, it did, Anton, my outstanding friend. Let's see how that happened. Okay, my friends, it's Roger once again. Prepare to be amazed. And why? Because guess what? Cosmic rays, we've all heard of those. They're extremely high energy particles. They're very energetic subatomic particles created, scientists think, in cosmic accelerators like black holes and exploding stars. When the particles crash into the Earth's atmosphere up above here, they create showers of secondary particles called muons. And guess what we can see with cell phones? Muons. You see this? Physicists turn smartphones into pocket cosmic ray detectors. And because they can see these extremely energetic, high intensity reactions. That's why. And they are the same things they are using as the high-end multi-million-dollar observatories. And that's what we used to see these. Okay, what is this outstanding discovery? It's the muon and the electron neutrino. There they are right there. Together they make up photons, which is the 2p2h particle, which can give us free energy. This is light. This is light accelerated, not supposed to happen. These are the new discoveries. That's the particle I just showed you, the 2p2h, which I'm going to show you in a second, the research on it. This is actually fission of the 2p2h. So the particle, the p part goes through here, the h part, the holes go around. And this is exactly what Cern wants to see, and we did it. And here it is right here. That's the muon neutrinos, the electron neutrinos. Remember that name, neutrino. Muons, remember that name, muon. It's the black ball, it's gravity, it's dark matter, it's non-concussive, non-reactive, it's just gravity. The white is the shower. Here it is right here. So that was the 2p2h, two particles, they turned into white showers. The two holes are the muons, they went around. Now, let's see why that's so important. All right, so why is this so important? Well, these are the particles we found. They're called the 2p2h. Listen to this carefully. This is neutrino interaction generators. That means creating electricity, generating it. Understanding of the so-called 2p, which is the two particle, two hole, 2p2h effect is an urgent program in neutrino interaction physics for current and future oscillation experiments. Such processes are believed to be responsible for the event excesses. That means extra energy observed by recent neutrino experiments. That was in 2013, and that's when we started, and we found it, and in 2015 we announced it to the world, and since then it's just been denied by the people that we thought wanted to see this. Now at that time it said current and future high resolution experiments can potentially nail down this effect, and we did nail it down using high resolution experiments using cell phones, because they have CMOS, complementary metal oxide semiconductor wafers that detect these high energy particles very simply, very, very simple. Okay, so we know there should be an extremely urgent program to find these 2p2h particles because they create excess energy. Now, this is light, and then light is basically the smallest particles that exist that we know of other than electrons, muons, and so forth. Now, that is this particle right here. And the particle sits at the front of the wave because it creates a huge magnetic region surrounding it. So that magnetic region smashes into every other particle's magnetic region, because every particle has a magnetic region. They all have electrons. That is what creates the magnetic region. The muon has no magnetic region. It is an attractor only. It does not emit, concuss, absorb, reflect. It does nothing but attract. Now, this is the wave coming through the air created by that field, but the particle is the particle right here, and it is inside the field. So the field is like here. So everything else here has to concuss. It looks like a wave coming through the air, but the particle is actually here. And every one of these little dots is another particle that's in the air, in the gases, that is concussing and glowing a little bit, because that's what happens. That's what light is. That is impact, and it's called push to shove. This guy pushes, this guy shoves back. This guy glows like crazy, this guy glows a little less. Now, it would never go faster than this until we put it through a Venturi. Rod Warren discovered a very, very simple process to crush light and create muons and the whole 9 yards. There it is right there. That's light accelerating. Not supposed to happen. Light is a particle. It is a wave particle because the wave is the field. The particle sits in the field, creates a wave as it flows through the air. Now, and they all have fields surrounding them. Now, this is the concussion zone, and that is literally fission, and that is fusion. And that is where the 2p2h particle comes into effect, right here, and creates excess energy. And that, you can see with the naked eye, that is much less energetic than that. That's extremely, this is nuclear fusion. Fission back to fusion. And that's exactly what they did. Cornell reported, as I just showed, in this understanding of this particle, the two P's and two H's. The white ones are the particles, the black ones are the holes. Urgent neutrino interaction physics, the responsible for the event excesses observed in recent neutrino experiments. But that was 8 years ago. Fermilab has really done very little in the time they've been doing the searching. We found this stuff very quickly. It's very simple to do. Okay, the way I'm being a little bit critical here is because they must be terribly embarrassed at Cern and Fermilab, because we did with regular cell phones, we saw these particles. You can see that we can see them. And the way we created the particles was a simple construction laser, a pulsed red laser. We did it with other lasers too, but this is it. This is exactly what we used, this exact laser and a G3 cell phone from 2014. We did this all back then. I went to the University of Geneva. These guys were from that figured this out were from that area. They were from Cern, and I picked up on this right away. And Rod Warren actually, just by accident, created this Venturi, and it made all these effects, and we could find these 2p2h particles. And now I can tell you right now, using this technology right here, we can have free energy within weeks, literally within weeks. Everything is on the shelf ready to go. All we have to do is mate that laser up to our little Venturi device. It's got to be engineered a little bit, and it's tuned and so forth. But then that furious output will be harvested by these new Perxovites. These are solar cells that have transition metals in them that can absorb heavy, deep orbitals, and then we'll absorb those and use them as energy. And it will be free energy. There will be no cost. Once we make this device, it'll run forever and never have to be fueled, and there will never be any pollution. There will never be any harmful radiation, nothing, because we're working with light, the smallest particles there are. We can harvest as much energy as you want for free. We can grow plants with light, we can heat, we can air conditioning, we can clean the water, we can clean the air, we can keep from destroying our atmosphere, keep the people in their own regions where they can live and grow food and clean their water and heat and live and grow their crops and do everything they want, because they'll have free energy. It'll be 100% free, and it's almost free. I mean, to build this stuff is just a few dollars. You can build this stuff. Less than $100, you should be able to make a free energy device to run a house. That's what I'm saying right now, as far as I can see. All right, just read what it says here. Muon neutrino, electron neutrino. Remember that name, neutrino. When they collide, that is the black ball, that is the white ball attached together. When they collide and explode, the black ball stays the black ball. The white ball turns into showers, electron showers, precisely identical to what Cern, Fermilab, and all the rest of them want to see, and we have just shown, accelerating the light, forcing it through a tuned little engineered venturi, forces only the white to allow itself through, the black goes around. That is separation of charges. That is fission. Let me show you what they had to say 10 years ago about muon neutrinos and electron neutrinos, how urgent it was to take advantage of this technology. You see this? When they handed things over to Fermilab, or Fermilab decided they wanted to be the big shots, they destroyed everything. This goes back to 2010, another one. Two-particle, two-hole contribution to electromagnetic response functions are computed in a fully relativistic Fermi gas model. Fermi. Pionic correlations and meson exchange currents in two-particle emissions induced by electron scattering. Electron scattering. Electrons are part of photons. Let me show you this in great detail, because if we can get this free energy, and we can, I think it's going to be a piece of cake. I mean, I'm talking about a cup of cake, a cupcake. You shoot the laser through, an pulsed red laser, accelerates, explodes at the venturi. Extremely simple. This is cold fusion, because you get fission here, and when it comes back together, it's fusion. However, I believe the extreme energy that's displayed right here, and you can see it with your own visual two eyes if you have two, hits this, and we're going to be harvesting that energy in just vast quantities and in excess. Excess. This is just unbelievable. It's an urgent program in physics, so that we can get this going, to get this excess. An urgent program in 2010, this was from, it started 2010, 2011, 2012. They were really starting to understand that we could get free energy back. But then there wasn't enough money in it. So that's my feeling. Because after that, it just turned into some just absolute nonsense. And it still is nonsense today. And the people that are responsible for paying attention to what is reality refuse reality because I am not peer reviewed. That's just intolerable. The world could be having free energy right today, and within weeks from today, if we started to do something. And I got a bunch of responses from people, "Oh, this is fantastic," but here it is. This blows physics right out of the water. There's light from a pulse red laser. Light is light. If it's laser, I don't care. If it's light, it's light. It's supposed to only go one speed. No, we accelerated it. We showed that it is a particle and it is a wave. Particle-wave duality. Nobody could ever figure that out. We showed that it concusses with all the other particles that are in the gases here. And if all of these particles are in the gases, and light is itself a particle, everything that's coming through space towards us is concussing with all the other light that's in space. We don't see it. John Glenn saw it when he saw his fireflies, and I can show you that. As you come around the Earth into the sunlight comes this way, illuminates all the particles just above as he's coming into the sunlight, and they drifted all past his capsule. He was freaked out. I'll show you that. I have the video about it. These are the Higgs fields. You want Higgs fields? I show you these all day long. Here's a Higgs field. Check this out. Let them explain this one. That's a Higgs field with an anti-Higgs field smashing into it, creating a mini Higgs field trumpet. All right, and these are the particles. I showed you the particles. And as they come forward, they concuss, they separate. And this is light, which is blue light, which is the extremely high energy. It's a little higher than the red and the green. So it's wider here, open up wider here, and concussing here. All right, so we can see that it's slowing down or speeding up. I don't care how you say it. But this one here, no question, is speeding up. So Einstein's done. Light is a particle. Light is a wave because the field creates a wave. The Higgs bosons only show up here when the particle reattaches to the dark matter, and the dark matter is dark energy. And dark matter. And all it does is it's gravity, it's a muon, it's an attractor, it's just a dark particle. Nobody's ever seen it before. And the only reason we saw it is because we accelerated the light, and the light manifested itself as its energetic values. Now let me show what these energetic values are, and I'll show you the leading edge and how it concusses with these particles that are the gases in the air. You see all this here? There's a particle in there, and it's banging into these. But because there's two particles, one white up on the top and one at the bottom, the leading one hits and gets charged up, and then it flips. And then this one goes to the front. So you got your upspin, your downspin, and it just depends which one's in the front. That's all that is. And then it charges up, and as it charges up, it flips. And the flip is instantaneous, and the charge takes, like a very short period of time, but it does take a time to charge. And here's what it looks like when it is in its magnificence. Here's what Cern looks for Higgs. Look at this. They're shooting particles together head on this way. 100 billion times more particles than we're using. We're using light. The smallest particle there is. They don't even know it's a particle. I'm not kidding you. They don't know it's a particle. Don Lincoln thinks there's no particle there. I'm serious. He says, he showed a whole big thing about how light goes through and does a double slit and all that, and you'd think it was a particle, but no, it has to be a wave because of this, and then he ends up saying nothing as far as I could see. They're digging through trash and seeing things like I just showed you, only I know where it came from. They have no idea. So they just keep walking around in circles. Ooh, look at what we found today. Look at what we found today. So now we got, I think they ended up with 12 or 14 primary particles, which are not primary at all. The only primary particle there is an electron. An electron is just like this. And they can split, so they can divide. We know that. I saw that. You could see that yourself. And the white one not only divides, it explodes. That's where our energy is. And we can have free energy tomorrow. And this is what they're looking at, is doodles, and spending billions of dollars, probably a day. Here's Cern. Here it is right there. Simulated Higgs event. Boy, we're really getting somewhere. All right. Majorna photons. We have these. I could show you these all day long. And here's the particle when it gets into its energetic phase. So here we have the particle. It's going this way. So this one is not getting charged up, but this one is. Because it's a concussor. The white ones are pushers and shovers. They're the tough guys. The black ones just say, hey, I just want to hold on to you. Just stay with me. We'll stay together for life. Well, then they would. Except we made them, forced them to part through the Venturi. You see these little tiny particles down here? What do you think is happening there? Think about it. What do you think is happening? You see this glow? You see how much that one's glowing? You see how much this one's glowing? Why? Why is this one so glowy and that one not? Why are we seeing just blackness here and blackness here? What's going on with that? The muons never change. Just exactly what Cern says. They don't change. They stay black. They stay in the black ball. However, the electron portion, electron neutrino portion, smashes into everything ahead of it, and it is absorbing energy because it's nothing more than an electric motor spinning through a magnetic field. These are nothing more than magnetic fields as they pass by. They're bashing, 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 bashing into this, and it glows up, and then it's so glowy that the push becomes too much, it flips. And then what happens is this one goes here, and it's in its diminished phase. So it sits here, this one goes back and diminishes, it becomes like this, but on the bottom side, so it's upspin and downspin. But it's not spin, it is spin. It becomes a little tricky to talk around this, but what you can see is obviously what I just said. It's going this way. That's charging up because it's bashing. Electron to electron. It's push to shove. And eventually it charges up enough. Flip, it flips. Exactly what happens to our sun. Every 11 years, the sun flips its magnetic field. And it only takes 27 days to flip. In that 11 years, it's got like an upspin. And then after 11 years, this thing gets so charged up, the magnetic field flips, but it flips in 27 days out of 11 years. That's pretty quick flipping. That's flipping quick. As they say down under, like my friend Rod Warren, who was the one that came up with this Venturi. And if he hadn't come up with this Venturi, I would have never been able to talk about electron flood theory, which is, this is all there is electrons. This is the new flood, a new electron flood theory. Bohr's gone. Everybody knew that. Dipole electrons. There they are right there. Every one of them looks like this. If they're separated like this and not in a photon configuration, they are electrons. These will burn you. These will toast you. These drive things. They push like hell. But when they're stuck together, two of them back to back like this, they bounce. They bounce off you. We see it as light, all right? Because it's coming back with an energetic value. How energetic it is depends on how hard it hit and what it hit, and how hard it's reflecting. That's why we see different colors, and this is what a nucleus looks like of every single thing there is. That's what the nucleuses look like. And there's a certain number of electrons, we call them protons, but it's only 1,839 of these pieces stuck together to make a ball. And that's what the ball looks like. And the black goes inside the ball. The white clusters the outside. So you don't see inside, you never see the dark matter. The only way we saw the dark matter was to split it apart. Cern's seen it because they explode things into garbage, and they dig through the trash, and they can find every little bit of dust there is, and they say, ooh, look at this little bitty piece of dust. It's one of these. And sooner or later, they're going to say, ooh, look at that. We found one of these just black ones. What the hell's going on here? Whoops, I got a little bug there. And then we say, we found a red one. That's an electron. You know, they dig through and it quarks, and we got muons and taus and all kinds of things they come up with. But every single one of them started from an electron, which is that. Right? And we separated them. And now this urgent program to get free energy should damn well start today.